Let's talk Carolina Panthers. Their season win total right now is at 7.5. I'm just gonna say it like this, Mac. And if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, I'm sorry in advance, but I don't know how the hell this team wins 8 games to go over this. Now I get it, and I think this is gonna be one of the things that a lot of people talk about. Well, they won 7 games last year, and I can honestly sit here and say I went through all the games, I went through the roster, and I don't have an answer on how the hell this team won 7.5 games. But when I looked at their offense and their defense, and let's just start with their offense, they lost their best player last year in Christian McCaffrey. He's gone. Mackenzie's 49ers have him now. But they also lost their best receiver in DJ Moore. He's gone. He's now in Chicago. And it sounds crazy, and I don't even want to say that they lost their best quarterback in Sam Darnold. That doesn't even sound right, but he was like the guy that was actually leading the charge down the end of the season when the Panthers are winning these games. So now you bring in a rookie quarterback who a lot of people have a lot of high expectations for Bryce Young, but you lose your best running back, you lose your best wide receiver, and the roster is like, yeah, I get it, like Adam Thielen. It was like, okay, like been there, done that. Nobody wants him. Miles Sanders, good running back, but not great. I mean, limited, but nobody wants him. Hayden Hurst, the tight end, it's like nobody wants him. It feels like they're building around this young quarterback with players that like kind of nobody wanted that had a name at one time or another. When I look at this offensive roster, Mac, I think this easily could be one of the worst offenses in the entire league. And when I think that, I don't know how you win 8 games. Right now, just coming out of the gate, Mac, I cannot support anybody playing this team over, and I can't answer the fact that no matter what, however you no matter how you say it, Mac, I don't know how this team won 7 games last year. I honestly have no clue.
Yeah, it was with Sam Darnold winning 4 of 6, as you mentioned, down the stretch. It was with a kind of win one for the Gipper mentality, winning one for Steve Wilkes. A lot of people around that organization talked about wanting him to get that nod as head coach. I feel like it was a lot of situations, a lot of players, DJ Moore, who you mentioned, they're just not there. It had nothing to do with their current makeup. In fact, I'd say every element of their winning is not necessarily part of this new situation. So let's look at history. Let's look at every single time there's been a brand new head coach with a team like Frank Reich bringing in a rookie quarterback. It's very rare for that to be the situation. It's only happened 4 times. Since 2016, those teams average 4.5 wins. Let's expand it a little bit more. Okay, maybe not even a rookie quarterback, just quarterback new for that team, like Russell Wilson last year, with a first-time head coach new to that team. All right, we have 13 examples since 2016, and we have, on average, those teams winning 4.5 games. This is the definition of a rebuild, starting fresh at the 2 most important positions you can have. And I feel like the Panthers, no team in this situation is supposed to win 7.5 games. For some reason, maybe it's because of their, super easy schedule being in the NFC South. Maybe it's because of last year. I feel like people didn't really give a lot of credit to the quarterbacks for winning those 7 games. We were saying it must have been everybody else, but you look at their defense, they were bottom 5 by defensive DVOA as well. It was kind of just miraculous that they ended up with 7 wins. They were more like a 5-6 win team. So I don't see a bump up. Usually when you start over at coach, start over at quarterback, you either stay flat or maybe even dip a little before you get back up. 7.5 seems high to me.
You know what worries me more than anything, Mac, is it's going to be the first 6 games of the season where you come in with, a brand new quarterback, a lot of new pieces, and I think you have to at least have some layups there. And I don't really see any layups. Like they're going to have to start the season out on the road against Atlanta, who many think, are going to be a little bit of an improved team. And then they have to turn right around another division game. They get them at home, but they got to play the Saints. But 4 out of their first 6 games are going to be on the road. They got to play Detroit. They got to play Miami. Minnesota's also in there in Seattle. So it's not going to be easy. If this team starts out with 1 win or no wins, they're going to have to rattle off a ton of wins, and they have like a 3-game stretch where they go on the road. And I get it. Like people are saying like their schedule's easy, but they're playing teams that are average. It's not like they're playing a bunch of bad teams.
Right.
It's a lot of average teams. You have Tampa Bay. I don't want to say that they're average, but they're close to average. Same thing with Green Bay. Same thing with Atlanta. Same thing with the Saints. You got the Titans in there, the Bears. Like I think that these are all average to slightly below average teams. It's not like they're playing the bottom feeders. It's just that's what your schedule is littered with.
And people are acting like Atlanta's like a guaranteed Final Four team. There's an incredible amount of buzz. That team was supposed to win 7.5 games in March. Now you look at the latest Vegas market, closer to 9 wins expected for the Falcons. So that's not exactly a layup. You know what, Sleep? The more I look at this Panthers team, you know who they are? They are the 2022 Chicago Bears. They have nobody on offense. Nobody's coming. The cavalry ain't coming on offense. And they have a rookie quarterback. I guess Justin Fields was in his second year, where they're going to let him run around and learn the hard way, trial by fire. This win total is way too high. The Bears were set at 5.5 and won what 3 games last year. I feel like this is the same situation. We're going to be middle of the year. Like, will the Panthers win another game? That's what we're going to be asking in the middle of the year. This is a rebuilding season. I don't really see how the 7.5 have been set where it's at.
Well, I mean, you could tell everybody what I sent you in our meeting. I said 7.5. This like I think the odds makers are on smoking meth. That I thought maybe 3.5 made more sense. Like, will this team be able to win 4 games? I don't know. I don't think so. And the only thing I could come up with, Mac, is like maybe this makes sense. This team didn't have any respect at all last year. Maybe they were just in a situation where they were going out there and they were gutting through and they were fighting each and every week. But maybe the teams that were playing them were just completely overlooking and be like, oh, yeah, we got to play the Panthers this week, just mark it up as a win. Maybe just teams were just simply overlooking them. Not saying each and every week, but more often than not, that this team was just being completely overlooked. And they were actually going out there, fighting to win games every week. Maybe that's how this team won 7 games, because it still doesn't make any sense to me. But there has to be a reason on why Sam Darnold was leading this team to victories down the end of the year, especially against teams like the Lions and stuff like that. Like, there had to be something. Like, there's something there.
Yeah, there was a rallying cry for whatever reason. Maybe it was nobody believes in us, but they were 3-8 before Sam Darnold took over and led a zombie crew to a 4-2 record. And then they were 4-2. I think the 3-8 is much more what the Panthers are, if not even worse than that, because that 3-8 included Christian McCaffrey for 4 or 5 games, included DJ Moore for all 11 games. I feel like 3-8 minus significant amount of talent, plus significant amount of growing pains with a new head coach, new quarterback. That's the team you're looking at for 2023. The 4-2 down the stretch, in my opinion, aberration, has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
All right. Well, I think this team's going to start out here pretty rough. And if they do start out rough, maybe 0-6, maybe 1-5, even if they do win 2 games, they're still going to have to squeeze out 5 wins coming down the stretch. And I don't see it on their schedule. I think there's going to be too many teams coming down there late, Mac, like the Saints, the Falcons, the Packers, that are all kind of still in that playoff chase. And I think it's going to set up where you're not going to have teams overlooking them. There's going to be teams going up against them that need wins. It's not like they have a team coming in that's a clear-cut playoff team. Like, you're going to have a lot of teams gutting out. Like, they're going to need to beat the Panthers in order to go ahead and kind of get over the hump, to the next week to keep themselves alive. And I think that, that's going to set up maybe the complete opposite of what happened with them kind of last year. You mentioned the Bears there, Mac. I know we did a preview with this team there, Mac. Do you remember the bet that was given out? Because I actually like the Bears over this year, their season win total.
It was AJ Hoffman, and he went under the Chicago Bears. So you were going head to head with Mr. Hoffman.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to make that a green button bet me against AJ. But yeah, a little bit of optimism here for the Bears the more that I look in. Well, that'll wrap it up. That'll do it for this episode of the Bet Tank podcast. So you guys got 2 season previews for us, one with the Detroit Lions, one with the Carolina Panthers. We like the Detroit Lions over to 9.5. We like the Carolina Panthers under 7.5. Mackenzie and I will be back with more team previews. If you guys haven't seen all the stuff that we've been dropping in the pregame.com forums, make sure you go over there. Mac, I think we got 20 teams right now with all the guys from pregame.com, RJ, AJ, Scott, Fez, you. We got Uncle Dave in there as well. So there's a lot of great work that's getting put out for the NFL so far this year.
Yep, no doubt. There's no way you can be as prepared as possible without checking out pregame.com NFL previews.
All right, well, if you guys want to go ahead and save some money there at pregame.com before we go and close up, enter code pregame25. Get yourself a free pick there at pregame.com. Make sure you guys follow Mackenzie and I on Twitter at sleepyj_pregame at Mac and Rivers. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the podcast. You will now see this in your feed, whether you're subscribed to Spotify or Apple. Bet Tank Podcast will be live all season long. With that said, I'd like to wish you guys all the best of luck. Enjoy the games. Hey guys, if you enjoy our content and want even more videos from pregame.com, hit that subscribe button right now. I promise you, you will not find better sports betting information anywhere else.